A form. 1. The visible shape or configuration of something. 2. A mold, frame, or block in or on which something is shaped. 'A form is something that can be shaped and molded over time. It adapts behaviors based on its environment, experiences, and inherited actions. In other words, what if I told you that everything that you know and do is a direct result of what you've learned and who you learned it from? Ideally, at a young age, you'd like to think that your thoughts are your own, and they certainly are. However, they are forever changing, constantly in flux with your ethics, customs, and ego. Imagine a world in which you exist everywhere, together. Take this cube, for example, very organized. It epitomizes balance. It is balance and symmetry. In its own eyes, it is perfect. A balanced life implies a structured routine and detail-oriented habits. A logical creature. The cube doesn't make inferences or assumptions based on limited information. While many are used to a single face, the cube has 6 faces. It is predictable. At least that's what most of its faces suggest. It is very logical, concise, and efficient with its time and energy. The cube has 8 vertices for diversity and flexibility within its own confines. Its form exudes precision, implying that it requires structure within its daily life. The cube is not a fan of surprises, often coming off as introverted, which makes it troublesome to get along with. One tends to ask oneself, how could such a form be so balanced, so perfect? Its figure screams method, hence the main reason as to why cubes are such sticklers for order. Of course, when one begins to mention order, our mind causes us to think of leadership, and certainly a leader can't lead without confidence. Am I right? Here we have it. The pointiest of the pointy, if that's a word. The pyramid. Ambitious, sharp-minded, and a little self-absorbed. Pyramids are very goal-oriented characters, in most cases neglecting all precautionary considerations to meet their objectives. These witty-minded folks often don't quarrel with other rigid-minded individuals. Their apprehensive, anxious nature can oftentimes lead them to act impulsively. Impatience isn't always a bad thing, however. Pyramids take pride in their decisive nature. What use do I have of details? The pyramid tends to ask itself. I say we cut to the chase. Let's just get to the point. 5 vertices and 5 faces for congruency and competency. Instead of simply asking why, the pyramid family prefers to ask why not. In contrast to the rigid pointed fellows we have here, Edges don't have to be present for other forms to exist. The sphere is a perfectly round form. It does not have a surface of center. The core. The essence. This form's soul is willing to yield itself to natural forces, to be shaped by its environment. The sphere has no vertices, but it also has an infinite number of vertices and infinite fractal faces. This unlimited number of vertices allows the sphere to relate and cooperate with various other shapes. Relative to anything within its diameter. This form is the closest thing to the transcendental. While most forms live in a Cartesian coordinate system with vertices and faces, the sphere doesn't require those features to cope. This selfless shape comes off as quite possibly the most compassionate form. Reflective and benevolently empathetic creatures. Not the most logical by any means, but very creative and harmonious in nature and its surroundings. No edges, no vertices, no bounds. The complexity lies in their density. The more subdivided a sphere is, the more elaborate the sphere can be in its environment. These objective shapes sense emotional energy more than any other existing form. The sphere is what I'd like to consider the muse of the formal structure. The metaform. Seeing the form from a higher perspective instead of from within the form itself, like being self-aware. The metaform is infinity in flux, always altering its form. It is in fact the ultimate Yi. This existential object is the natural force that other forms conform to. It embodies all existing formal structures. The metaform is the transcendental form that is most closely relative to that of the sphere, as mentioned before. The most organic structural form of its kind. Without this form, any other shape's existence is second to none. They exist together, in harmony, in entropy, in graceful continuity. They are the forms.